Y'all know it's that time of year again. It's that time of season again. It's time for the anime season preview. So where I basically look over all the shows coming out this season and I pick out the ones that you should probably look out for, and I categorize them from give them a chance, which basically means that, you know, it's an alright show, but you know what I'm saying, I'm probably not gonna watch the whole show. Dark horse, which means that this show could be really good, but there are definitely better things this season. And then the must watches, which are kind of self-explanatory. These are shows that you must watch this season. Alright, so of course, you know what I'm saying, like, comment, subscribe if you want more anime videos from me. Comment definitely, because I like hearing from y'all. I like talking to y'all. I like that input, that back and forth. That's one of the reasons why I do these videos. So let's hop on into this list. It's Blade Runner Black Lotus. Now, if you can look past the PS3 era cutscene CG, it might be an interesting story here. Alright, or it could be hot garbage. I don't know. As in Los Angeles 2032, a young woman wakes up with no memories, possessing deadly skills. The only clues to her mystery are a locked data device and a tattoo of Black Lotus. Putting together the pieces, she must hunt down the people responsible for her brutal and bloody past to find the truth of her lost identity. And she's probably a replicant, because this is freaking Blade Runner, so. But yeah, sounds interesting. I'm gonna give it a shot. It could be trash. Well, you know, depending on how trash it is, I might do a whole review, because I'm really in the mood to just like shit on something, so. This could be interesting.
生きることは辛いだけでこの先希望も何にもない
So Kakahashi Mirai is a young kid whose parents died. He is very depressed and he tries to kill himself. He gets saved by a naked angel, and she basically says, hey, you've been chosen to be in a death game and the winner becomes God. So yeah, amazing. A depressed person just tried to kill themselves. You're gonna give him the chance to become God. That's gonna be fun. But yeah, essentially this reminds me of Mirai Nikki. And it's interesting that the guy's name is Mirai. I mean, it would only be crazy if like the angel was like a psychopath. Judging by the fact that she chose a depressed man to go into a death game to become God, she might be a psychopath. But yeah, Platinum End. So Platinum End is interesting. It's made by the same people who did Death Note. So I'm definitely interested, but it sounds way too much like Future Diary, aka Mirai Nikki. And I wasn't a huge fan of that show, but I'm definitely gonna give it a chance though.
あの瞬間、何色でもなかった俺の人生に色がつき始め、それはあの街で見た青。ブルーピリオド。
So Blue Period is about a guy by the name of Yatora, and he essentially leaves a regular life of like college studying and good manners to go off and become a starving artist. And this show basically goes over the challenges he has by leaving his life and doing something completely different, taking a completely different turn in life. It's like a coming of age story. It sounds pretty interesting, but it also is giving me like Threegatsu no Lion vibes. You know what I'm saying? Or March Comes In Like a Lion. Which, if it does, if it seems like that show, I'm just not ready for that kind of sad energy right now. Not right now. Alright, so this one I'm gonna have to read because AMAIM, Warrior of the Borderline. So this is by Sunrise. This is the Sunrise B team, Sunrise Beyond. So these are the guys these are like the newbies. You know what I'm saying? They're not cool enough to get on the Gundam team, so they give them AMAIM, Gundam Light. So in the year 2061 AD, Japan lost its sovereignty. The Japanese people spend their days as oppressed citizens after being divided and ruled by 4 major trade factions. So basically this is Cyberpunk 2061 in Japan. The country became a forefront of the world following the development of the AMAIM humanoid special mobile weapon by each economic bloc. One day, Shibuya, a boy who loves machines, meets Guy, an autonomous thinking AI. The encounter leads to Amu to cast himself into the battle to reclaim Japan, piloting the AMAIM Kinbu that he built himself. So he built one of these. So he's like some kind of child prodigy. He meets an AI and he builds a Gundam. Okay. I mean, that sounds pretty interesting. The thing that got me was just how clean this looks. It is CG, but that trailer looked hella clean. And I was like, I'm a stickler. I love CG, especially when it's done right. Alright, so I will definitely give this show a chance on that. The story itself sounds interesting, but it also sounds like a lot of other Sunrise Gundam-ish stories. You know, there's a rebellion against some sort of power structure, or there's a civil war of some sort. Both sides have Gundam-based machines and they're fighting. It sounds like a lot of the Gundam-ish stories that's come out in the year. But, I mean, it's one of the best sounding mecha shows of the season, which has a lot of mechas in it. So, I'm definitely gonna give it a shot.
それくらいしなきゃこのコロニーは変わらねえ。慣れ慣れしく呼ばないで。いい加減飽きたっすよ。しかもここどこなんすか？夢を見たのだ。ガガンバが死んでいた。
So we're at the Dark Horse shows now. So these are the shows that are, you know, are a bit more. These shows I want to see, but you know, there are still better things out this season. So SAKUGAN is one of those. And SAKUGAN is a combination of shows that I really like. Alright, so SAKUGAN is about humanity, and they've been quarantined to this place called the colony. Something happened, and like most of humanity is dead except for the people who live in the colony. And then there are these people called markers who go and they try to explore the labyrinth within, which is the outside world. And the markers have to go out and explore. And you know, this is essentially like every Attack on Titan-ish show, plus a bit of Made in Abyss with mechs. So yeah, this is another mecha show this season. Again, the show looked pretty good, and the storyline itself, I mean, the combination of the two, like a labyrinth to explore, but humanity is also busted, it makes it that much more intriguing. Alright, so this one right here. Deep Insanity, The Lost Child. And when I first read this, I was like, Deep Inside the Lost Child? Ew. Come on, Japan. But no, it's Deep Insanity, The Lost Child. So this one, look, madness and unawakening sleep, Randolph syndrome. The new illness is slowly but steadily approaching humanity, caused by a huge underground world called Asylum that appeared in Antarctica. There are strange creatures different from the Earth and unknown resources. Another Made in Abyss-like show. Alright, this time it's Made in Abyss, plus there's a virus. People bet their lives on the depths of the mysterious new world to get huge wealth, organizational plots, and their own ambitions. And here alone, a young man with a wish in his heart is trying to challenge the front line of the asylum. Again, interesting, but I feel like, you know, this is giving me Your Eternity vibes. And again, I'm not ready for that kind of sadness right now. Alright, I'm feeling pretty good, and I want to stay that way. This one right here, I think this one right here sounded kind of interesting too. Muv-Luv Alternative. So this from 3 companies I've never heard of: Flagship Line, Yamita Company, and Graphinica. Never heard of any of these companies before in my life, but a story of the bonds between those who fight in a world pushed to its limits. One of the countless parallel worlds that exist throughout space-time. Humanity has fought a decades-long war against the Beta. Those freaking betas. You know what I'm saying? I knew they were up to something. Hostile extraterrestrial invaders using humanoid fighting machines called tactical surface fighters. This story is of how humanity lives and dies while on the brink of extinction. So it's another Attack on Titan mecha survival story. This is like the 3rd mecha anime on this list. Alright, it's crazy how much mecha we getting this year. It sounds like the anime gods heard the prayers of the people who were looking for mecha shows.
吸血鬼です。
私は実験体でもいいから、人間の力を借りてでもいいから、宇宙に行きたかった。
俺に生きる意味があるとしたら、宇宙に行くことだけだ。そのためなら全てを捨てられる。
私も殺されるの。
So, Tsuki to Laika to Nosferatu. Essentially, the reason why I put this one in here is because this one sounds like an interesting drama. Because there are 2 countries that exist out of this big war that happened. And the 2 countries exist. And essentially, they're having a Cold War that's evolving into a space race, right? And so one country is using vampires, possibly the last vampire, as a way to test their space vehicles for an eventual manned space flight. And so, of course, it's a hot elf vampire waifu that they're using. Alright, and I feel like there's gonna be some dramatic stuff going on. Like, I think she's the last vampire, because there are flashes in the trailer that seem like the vampires were killed off, maybe in the war, maybe after the war. Maybe that's what triggered the war. Maybe it was like vampire holocaust, and then like the other side was like, you can't kill the elf vampire waifus, and you know, it just started a massive war. But it feels like this is gonna go into deeper issues. It could just be a simple love story, which is interesting, but I feel like there's something deeper with this one. That's why this one's a dark horse. Okay, so with the must-watches, these are more predictable, alright? So we all kind of know what the must-watch shows of this season are. A lot of sequels. You got Mushoku Tensei Part 2, 86 Part 2, freaking Demon Slayer, the Entertainment District, which is technically Season 2 of Demon Slayer. That's coming out. I don't really need to talk about those. All right, we all know that those are going to be awesome. All right, I'm particularly looking at Mushoku Tensei Part 2 because I want to see how this one goes down. Because I mean, this show like had a rocky start, but it was incredible as the show went on. So I want to see how this first season technically ends. Alright, and if you don't know about Mushoku Tensei, it's essentially about this guy. It's an isekai about a 30-year-old dude. He's living like a 30-year-old perv life. You know, he likes hentai and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And he dies saving this little girl's life. And it's like the one good thing he did. And he gets transported to another world. And he becomes a magical prodigy. But he doesn't get like a harem. He's like a little boy. He's like, oh, I get a second chance to live my life the right way this time. Even though he still has his struggles, he's still a perv, but he's getting better. It's interesting. It's definitely one of the better isekais that have come out in recent years. 86 is of course another war story with mechs. So I guess it's interesting that the second part of this show will come out during mecha season. Because there's so many freaking mech shows coming out this season. And everybody knows what Demon Slayer is. Like, I mean, come on now. Like, everybody knows Demon Slayer. So let's get into some of the other more exciting shows of the season. Like, Faraway Paladin. So Faraway Paladin is essentially a story about a young kid. I'm not sure if he's an isekai. I don't think he's an isekai. I think this one is a straight up fantasy. And he gets born, and he's an orphan. And he gets raised by these three undead. It's a mummy, a ghost wizard, and a skeleton warrior. And he gets raised by them. And eventually he learns about the good gods and the evil gods. And he wants to become a paladin and try to help the world. And so I'm like, yeah, that sounds freaking cool. It's a straight up fantasy. It's no isekai. No harems. It's not trying to be like, ooh, super dark fantasy. It's a fantasy. It's a straight up fantasy. I'm down with that. Alright.
世界の状況、今の状況を子守歌のように聞きながら。
Alright, so this one right here is sheer hype. Because it sounds kind of like a generic show, but it's got Mappa and Madhouse working on the same production. So yeah, you know I'm in on this. Mappa and Madhouse together? Okay, alright, it can't be that generic. So the world is completely changed when it was struck by a black meteorite which produces grotesque monsters called D2. They have overrun the land and its people. D2 very quickly banned all music. This is where it kind of slips off for me. Because I'm like, music is another thing that's populating this season a lot. There's at least 4 different music-based shows this season. And takt op.Destiny. It sounds like there's gonna be a video game too. This is probably a video game tie-in. But yeah, but there are people who resist D2. They are young women. That is literally how they wrote this. They are young women who who hold the power of music. The music cart with the guidance of the conductor. These young women use the greatest musical scores in history to defeat the monsters. Now, listeners tried to do something like this, I believe, last year. And it was a really good looking show, but it was also kind of a very mediocre written show. It was just kind of lame. This show, I'm hoping different. I'm going to give another music show. I should have put this as a dark horse. I should have switched like Dark Insanity, whatever, and made this a dark horse show. But I'm definitely going to, just because Mappa and Madhouse are in it, I'm giving it a shot. I'm making it a must watch. I might regret that.
者の鐘の声諸行無常の響きあり
美はお前のその目には何が見える？
お前たちはじき滅びる。
Alright, and the last one is probably the one I'm the most excited for. Alright, it's Science Saru that is not on Netflix, so you're not gonna have to wait forever for it. And it's Heike Story. So Heike Story is about a little girl who gets taken in by the Tyra clan, or the Tyria clan. And they're like this clan that have taken over a great deal of territory. And she initially belonged to one of the other clans that lost to the Tyra clan, but she's taken in by the Tyra clan. And the leader of the Tyra clan witnesses her, like, her psychic abilities. So she has the ability to kind of see the future, and she predicts the destruction of the Tyra clan. And like, it's interesting, and it's Science Saru, like, you know what I'm saying. Unfortunately, what she predicts is a future of bloodshed, violence, and civil war, inspired by a real 12th century epic, the Hikai Monogatari. So yeah, I'm like, it's Science Saru, it's a historical show, and it's like a period. Oh man, like, just hitting all the buttons for me. I'm guaranteed to watch it, and the first episode is already out. I haven't watched it yet, because I like to watch the first couple of episodes. But yeah, I'm definitely going to do a first impressions on it. So that's a guarantee. Alright, so yeah, that's about it for this. You know, of course, tell me which anime you would like to see this season. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, folks, keep it real.